We're tuning in with Awwdacious. How you doing? My name is Dylan Richards, and today we are going to be talking, I guess, updates. Start off with, it's the new year. Everybody's trying to do their New Year's resolutions and everything like that. And I feel like this is the time people start failing. So check up on your friends. Really ask them what's good with their New Year's, because really a lot of us are trying to change, and we do need that push. Also, that might lead to conflict in your life. So, real talk, don't quote me on that shit. You do that is up to your own fruition. But continue with that. Ooh, my God. God. Turn me up, yams. God. I'm sorry, y'all. Look, I'm a be back to the show. Okay. What were we talking about? All right, cancel culture. Whole thing with cancel culture. I feel like today we've kind of given a lot of power to our social media in terms of how we let that dictate the flow of culture. So I think that's come in a lot of positive ways and a lot of negative ways, but I feel like in its most recent form has been this uprising in a sense of cancel culture, where we can just critically hound somebody or just kind of get on somebody on whatever social media source or even outside of that and take them out. Now, take them out of that sphere, whether that's get their job fired, getting fired from their job, maybe even getting losing their verification, getting taken off of Twitter, Instagram, things like that. And I feel like in its many forms, we've had a lot of great examples of how this has been beneficial in terms of taking people out of the forums that can be harmful to the community and to the conversation. But I feel like in many other ways, we've also created a mob culture, which I think is something that we're not really looking at and we're feeding into more. As a people, we really got to look at ourselves. If we're supposed to be this melting pot idea, we're this melting pot that has but we're on really different temperatures on every single level. So while at the bottom you might be having some movement, at the top sections of this melting pot, there really isn't. You still got this gelatinous structure that's not going anywhere. And I feel like for us to really actually change that, we have to kind of understand where we're kind of pivoting the conversation. And so I feel like on the topic of cancel culture today, I kind of want to more so talk about the people that got taken down very fast. And so kind of ideas of people that got taken down in rapid succession just due to maybe one video got taken out. So there can be something, for example, like a James Charles, right? This guy, beauty guru, has everything that he wants. Dude's just literally just making anything he touches just turns to money, right? And in an instance, just one video can pretty much destroy him in a second. Now, that's pretty much unforeseen in terms of there should be a way for him to even get rectified. People don't even know what truth is, but we take it for that on base value just because we heard it from that first person. And the danger of that is that we also translate this to our news culture, because news learns from social media. News learns from us in the sense where they say, oh, this is what they'll react to. They like picking sides. They like gossiping. They like being on the bullshit. So let's give them some bullshit to talk about, right? So that's when we start doing more things to polarize the argument, trying to point at the other person and the other side of the aisle rather than trying to find commonalities. If anything, it doesn't diversify the argument. It just diversifies the hate, and pretty much all around the board, everybody can get it, right? So there's no actual wins overall, because it feels like to this idea of democracy that we're trying to spout, we're not actually trying to educate on anybody the idea of actually coming across with any rapport for the other side. We're not trying to debate anymore. It's just trying to yell a point. And it's not like I'm the first person to say this. Everybody said this, but I feel like it's something that we should be more critical with, because it's come to an apex today that I feel like is kind of scary, where we kind of, even when it comes to news or knowing what's right or what's wrong or knowing what's clear, even right now, we are going through an impeachment trial. Doesn't matter what side you see it on. A lot of crazy shit has happened in the last couple years that we've had somebody, right? And it doesn't matter what you see.
there are certain things that are just objectively wrong. That it doesn't matter what side of the aisle you've been on, most people would generally see that those things would be blatantly wrong. But because we're in this mob mentality, one side versus the other, you've already picked your boat. I'm not saying you have. I feel like a lot of people, I feel like they have. They feel like they've been bullied into a corner where and like the best comparison to this that I've seen was South Park. South Park had this amazing episode pretty much highlighting the relationship between Cartman. Cartman, if you know him, is a shit character in South Park that usually just shows the worst side of humanity in every single way, shape, or form. But to this, he ends up finally getting a girlfriend. And everybody in school is like, how the fuck? And it just doesn't make any sense. They're like, is she broken? Is there something wrong with her? Like, they don't understand. And the thing is, it was due to that way of ridiculing her in the sense of asking her, like, hey, what's wrong with you? Or is there something wrong with you that you're on this person's side? By kind of bullying her into the corner of the opposition of feeling like, well, I've already chosen my side. I've chosen my boyfriend. I chose the person that I'm going to be with. If I keep getting like pushed around by people and telling me that I made a bad decision, right, you're going to double the fuck down. That's what people do. Nobody wants to know they're wrong. And I feel like I'm honestly trying to just tell somebody, if anybody's here to listen, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying you have a difference of opinion. I'm saying the one thing we can be right on is something that's a fact versus fiction, because that's dangerous. That's fucking ridiculous to me. I can't live in a world like that. That's really something that I'm really just bubbling up with anger, because that can't be conducive to anybody's health, to anybody's win. We got so many fucking problems to deal with in this world. Not even in this world. Let's not go global. Let's just say where you're at right now. In your city, in your home, in your town, state, or wherever you're at. You have local problems that you could be trying to fix rather than trying to fix the world's problems, right? If we all try to fix the communities around us rather than actually trying to go out and point out the injustices of everybody else, maybe we can actually get somewhere.
Hello.
Right? Like, and it sounds like a point of hypocritical. I'm going to point it out. That is hypocritical of me, because I feel like doing this show, I am going to be audacious to the point that I am pointing out things of other places that I have no real business in, but I want to talk about it because I might want to be a voice to that area. And if I go the wrong path on it, I want you to understand that, yes, call me out on that, but do it with a grain of salt, understanding that I'm not saying it with the authority of the fact that I'm 100% right. I'm saying with the fact that I understand that I'm a person that has my own flaws. But I'm trying to speak my truth on the fact of what I think I know. And if you agree with me on that, then I think that we can at least have a conversation and get somewhere. Because I feel like if I'm not at least learning from this, if I'm just feeling like I'm getting more and more empowered from this and I'm not actually growing myself, then this isn't something that I feel like I want to continue. So that's the kind of the start of Awwdacious. But continue with cancel culture, right? We have this kind of like concept of kind of like, and I guess this is always, I think more so the idea of this being a new thing is the problem. Like the idea of learning from history. If we think about cancel culture, it is our Salem witch trials of today, right? It's the get 'em. It's the hey yo. People just like doing that shit. You getting your boys together or getting your family together and like, hey, you know, there's nothing good like a good old mob mentality. Like, you know, it's just like, it's like, what that nigga do? Man, yo, get that nigga. It's like, yeah, like really, that's been throughout society. If there's an outsider, fucking black people and lynching, so that's a thing. And I don't even want to. It's just, but all throughout society, we've had this idea of mob mentality. Fuck it, America's had a genocide that they did on that shit. Well, second genocide, third genocide, because first one was Indians, then it was like African Americans, and then they did the little one, like they did one on like Asian people, Asian Americans with World War II. Yeah, don't forget that shit. We did that. Like, and look, if you rep America, you rep that too. Like, I feel like everybody that reps the flag, like, look, real talk, speak on it. I'm just saying, like, if you rep the flag, you rep what we did. You rep all the good and you rep the bad. You don't just rep the highlights. When you're dating somebody, okay, And if you're dating somebody and they're the worst, right? You don't just get to say to all your friends, well, they're nice that one time. No, your person's shit and they make my day sad. I can't go on with you like this and I need you to change. And that's my thing. Like, we got to just hit the point where we accept everything for the good and the bad. Like, the only time that we have ever actually, and we were kind of getting good at doing that for a second, right? But like, there just came to a time where we just came so polarized, where we have to be on each side. And I feel like that's something that I kind of want to create the kind of, I guess, purple conversation around the table. Because I feel like the whole red-blue argument and shit, like, there's a fucking rainbow, honestly. It's just like everybody's on a different spectrum of their political, how they feel. And honestly, that changes through life. So I feel like people being career this, career that, that's not realistic for who you are and what you're going through, right? Different things change who you are and who you vote with. But also, more than anything, I think like that culture of the mob mentality and the cancel culture and this idealism of like left and right was kind of born out of this idea of, or I guess it wasn't born out of the idea of our democratic two-party system or anything like that, but it wasn't helped by it, right? I feel like that was something that came natural to Americans due to that fact that we always had that this side versus the other side. And we're not the only system that does it. Everybody does it. We've always had this notion this is just like a global thing. We do this throughout history, whether it's finding a side of a war, whether you're on the Allies or you're in the Axis powers, whether you're like, you're gonna be on the right side of history or the wrong side of history, but history is written by the victor, right? I think we really just gotta come to a time where we like cut the bullshit on trying to create smaller sub-arguments around the things that we actually can't change and actually talk about the real shit that we can change, right? So I think like we give too much power to social media. And that power that we give to social media feeds into a media culture that sees that that's what we're very receptive to. And they in turn, and I'm not even saying that it's our fault. Like, I definitely think that they're very predatory in the way that they come and just swoop on and realize that. And the thing is, it's probably fucking Twitter too. They sell your data. What do you think that shit is for? Like it's just all research. It helps aid in somebody else understanding something else about you and how to market to you. And the big thing that we're marketing right now is that hatred sells. Is that shit gets clicks. Is that if you want to actually have people click in, you need them to be polarized and angry. And I don't feel like we're getting better by continuing down that route.